Well, Volkswagen is fighting for its very survival, and a lot of it is self-inflicted. Several years ago, they announced the ID7, the ID Buzz, and the ID2. And they took a disastrous step when they chose the high profit margin of the ID7 and the ID Buzz over the high volume of the ID2, and all their buyers were disappointed. The ID2 is a budget model, affordable, made by German engineers. What would Volkswagen be doing today had they chosen a different route? I'm Dave, this is Dave Takes It On. So why did Volkswagen announce three models way back in 2023, the ID2, the ID7 and the ID Buzz, and then ignore the model that all the buyers were waiting for, a budget EV made by German engineers, and choose instead the high-end models, the ID7 and the ID Buzz, both of them priced £60,000 or £70,000? Just what would have happened had they listened to their buyers and immediately in 2024 launched the ID2? Let's have a look at what might have been. Well, regular viewers will know that we have launched a number of videos about the downfall of Volkswagen, and it's not an exaggeration to say that it really is in a very precarious situation. They were previously living on about 50% of their sales and profit coming from China, and that one is drying up very rapidly, and at the same time the ICE market is also contracting. So their situation is really getting very serious. They also have outdated factories and unions which are demanding ever higher wages when the Chinese are cutting wages for their workers. I did launch recently a video on the Paris Motor Show, and there's another motor show on at the moment, which is Brussels. And I commented that the Paris Motor Show was very heavily focused on EVs, but the concentration was at very much the budget end of the market, down in the 20 or 25,000 euro range. Now, one thing that Volkswagen is very famous for is the budget end of the market. Look at the success of the Polo or the Golf. These are mass-produced cars, probably relatively little low profit margin, but a huge market for them. And these cars regularly, to this day, still appear in the top 10 sales of Europe or the UK. So it seems a little bit strange that Volkswagen, who are in trouble, have gone down maybe a wrong route, don't go back to basics and say, we are the masters, we're the world leaders in the budget end of the market, cheap cars for everybody. Why don't we concentrate on that for the electric vehicle end of the market? Let's go all in on the ID2. Now, their buyers are behind them if they were to do that. Their buyers want cheaper cars, and the ID2 will be a cheaper car. They want the budget cars, but they also want, very heavily, the German engineering that goes into them. So if they can buy in Europe an EV made by the Germans, but at a budget price and a size that suits most families, then they would be on a clear winner. That would allow them to hit a much bigger market than something which is costing 60 or 70,000 euros. That's a limited market. So with a bigger market, they'll get more sales, they'll be able to extend quickly into mass production, get their suppliers ramping up to mass production, prices will come down further, profit margins will recover, but they will be establishing themselves in a very large part of the market and actually beating the Chinese at their own game. An awful lot of German car buyers who are looking for an EV will always choose a German manufacturer, famous like Volkswagen, over a Chinese totally unknown brand if they offer a similar value for money. Now, I'm not talking about getting them down to exactly the same price. There is no need. But if the quality of the Volkswagen offering is higher, and the reputation is very much higher, they can sell at a slightly higher price than the Chinese are going to have to do, because they have no reputation and people don't know who or what they do. So that was the market that I fully expected Volkswagen to enter, and they chose not to. We need to have a look at where Volkswagen could have been had they made different decisions. I launched a video recently which talked about the penalties the EV manufacturers are facing for not hitting targets. This is not just the UK, this is in Europe as well. And many manufacturers are having to pool resources for carbon credits to stop them having to pay really hefty fines. And these fines themselves could actually bankrupt companies even as big as Volkswagen. Well, these targets that they're set either for emissions or for CO2 production or for percentage of EVs to ICE cars, which we have in the UK, all penalise those companies not making enough low emission or zero emission cars. So when Volkswagen targeted the high end of the market and getting a couple of thousand sales on the ID Buzz and a few thousand sales on the ID7, it doesn't really go any way towards avoiding some of these heavy penalties that they are today facing. If we look back, and had they gone down the ID2 route, they would have been producing 2, 3, 4, 5 times as many cars as they did with the Buzz and the ID7. And these targets are all based on number of sales. So with a massive amount of sales at the budget end of the market, they would not today be facing any penalties at all. That would be a turnaround, wouldn't it? So it seems to confirm that Volkswagen did go down the wrong route, and the ones who chose that route might be the ones sitting back now thinking, did we get that wrong? Because I'll tell you why the EV market is turning. We've just heard that Ford Motor Company, who themselves followed a similar route, they virtually scrapped all their EV plans for factories and battery factories just 18 months ago, a year ago. And yet, this last year, 2024, they sold more Mustang Mach-E's electric cars than Mustang petrol cars. The market has changed. Volkswagen, I don't think, foresaw that change and headed off down the right route. But it's not too late. If they recognise it now and introduce the ID2, launch it with the right technology and the right software at the right price, this could be an absolute winner and might save Volkswagen. Well, if you got this far, I'd like to thank you for watching. And if you'd like to see more like this, then please subscribe, because then we can notify you every time we launch videos. We do at the end give you some suggestions of other videos that we've already made that you might like to see along the same lines as this one. But if you do have any other ideas for new subjects, just leave your comments down below and we'll have a look, and if we get enough appeal, then we'll be launching videos on that subject as well. So thanks very much for watching. Please like, please subscribe. I'm Dave.